Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here. As always, guys, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. Let's talk about a movie. When Jenna suddenly becomes the caretaker of her orphaned 8-year-old niece Katie, Gemma's unsure and unprepared to be a parent. Under intense pressure at work, Gemma decides to pair her M3GAN prototype with Katie in an attempt to resolve both problems, a decision that will have unimaginable consequences. So that's the plot of M3GAN, the new horror comedy from producer James Wan and director Gerard Johnstone, an Australian director. So what's up, guys? Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. I just saw this movie last night. This is a movie I think I was pretty excited to see. Actually, I was pretty hyped on this one, to be honest with you. The design of M3GAN looked amazing, and after James Wan's Malignant, I feel like he's kind of on a roll with this new camp throwback style thing that he's been doing, and I was hoping that M3GAN would be sort of a continuation in playing in that playground, and it definitely is. Although a PG-13 version of that, I don't think I knew that it was a PG-13 until right before I got to the theater, and definitely right when I got in the theater and noticed a bunch of kids in the movies. That was a whole nother thing. This was not a great theater experience. I had a group of kids that were talking just non-stop, full voice. During the entire first like 10-15 minutes of the movie, I finally had to move to the other end of the theater, and I was able to enjoy the flick for what it was. And overall, man, I had a great time with this movie. I think from watching the trailer, it's very clear that this movie is very self-aware. It's very campy, it's very silly, it's cheesy, but it does have its moments of generally being, I don't know if it's scary, but definitely highly creepy. The design of M3GAN is absolutely, it's amazing. The work that they did combining CGI, an actor, like a practical actor in a costume, and animatronics is pretty seamless. I honestly couldn't tell from one moment to the next. Sometimes you can, but for the most part, it's pretty seamless, and you can't tell whether you're looking at an animatronic or CGI or whatever it may be. The fluid nature of the doll's movements and the look, like the face of this is really kind of, it's so creepy, but it's also very beautiful looking. The costume that they chose for the M3GAN doll is just, it's perfect. The design is impeccable, is what I'm saying. And that is gonna be the main takeaway from M3GAN, is that the design and the creepiness and the movements of M3GAN and the way she speaks and interacts with the characters is definitely the main and one and only reason to see this movie. The side performance and the characters outside of the main little girl, who may be creepier than M3GAN, if I can just add that in. That's a little side note. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the little girl. Nothing against her. She performed very well. She's a good actress, but I found her to be a little bit more creepy than M3GAN, which I thought was funny. But the movie is a very, very basic setup. Little Katie at the beginning of the movie, she loses both of her parents, which actually brings up another side note. Did you guys notice this tiny little Franken edit in the trailer that kind of helps the audience member know what's going on? I'm just gonna play this real quick.
Welcome home.
You're my niece.
You're my niece. It's just so the audience knows what the hell's going on. I chuckled at that edit in the trailer, but this movie delivers on fun, and that's pretty much the only thing you can ask for in a movie like this. We just had Joe Begos, I never know if it's Joe Begos or Joe Begos, his new Christmas Bloody Christmas, an animatronic killer Santa movie, which kind of didn't work as well for me as I really wanted it to. We've also had other similar movies dealing with an AI creation similar to M3GAN in Ex Machina from Alex Garland, which I think is a fucking masterpiece. And this M3GAN movie could almost be a companion piece to Ex Machina. Like, what if you've seen that movie, what happens at the end of Ex Machina when that scene happens? What might happen if something like that gets out into the world? What happens in M3GAN is she kills a bunch of people. The on-screen kills are pretty minimal. This isn't a blood and guts slasher type movie, although it is a slasher. A lot of it happens off screen, and the violence that we do see on screen is pretty mild. The acting and performances outside of the amazing M3GAN aspect of it are pretty, they're pretty iffy at best. There's some miscasting and some weak performances that happen throughout the movie. Coming to mind is the CEO character, who is Gemma's boss, the owner of this big tech toy company. He was kind of annoying, and I felt like his motivations were a little wonky. He's focused on making toys when it seems like he has a complete AI operation under his nose, and he's focused on making these cheap little toys, which was a little off. But outside of that, his performance I felt was just kind of annoying, and he seemed really miscast.
Yeah, we talked about you putting it on ice until you had a new pets model. How much did you spend on this?
best. But outside of that, this movie is a blast. I think it delivers exactly what it promises. This movie is very self-aware. It's funny. I would pretty much describe it as a horror comedy. It's that level of self-aware and funny because M3GAN, she's just so over-the-top sinister almost right from the beginning. As soon as they get her home, things start taking a turn. The AI starts learning a little too quickly. It starts becoming self-aware very quickly. And that, among other things, is some of the kind of suspension of disbelief you have to have watching this movie, because the story and the trajectory and like the way the plot moves is a little clunky at times, but overall we're not here for a very like extensive plot. I think it's extremely obvious from the moment that trailer started that we're not looking for Oscar fare here. This isn't an Oscar season movie. This is a January horror movie, but it's better than most January movies that are dumped in this month. It's very fun. It's a very, very fun movie. I would recommend it to all of my audience just because it's so damn fun. Some of the stilted performances and the campy story, I think, are intentional, so people who have complaints about that may be missing the point of the movie because it's just supposed to be a goofy horror comedy. I'm sure there will absolutely, definitely be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequels. If we could get a M3GAN versus Chucky movie, that would be fucking awesome. I saw Don Mancini posting about how amazing M3GAN is. But this is different than a lot of your killer doll movies. This is an AI doll. I've never seen, you could call it a killer doll movie, but it's really more than that. This is an AI entity. So it's different than your Chucky, Puppet Master type of movies. Annabelle, it's different. It's kind of its own thing. And that's what James Wan, if anything, I have a lot of critiques for James Wan, but what he does well. He nailed it with Malignant by taking a very cheesy, ham-fisted, kind of self-aware premise, but executing a legitimately fun movie. And I think he's done it again, although he didn't direct, he did produce it. He's done it again with M3GAN. And I can't stress how amazing M3GAN as a character in this movie. Her movements, her dancing, her interactions are every bit a reason to go see this movie. And this is also, people are complaining about the PG-13 rating. I would love to see an uncut version on the Blu-ray. If that ever comes to pass, I would love to see it, although this movie stands on its own as a perfect gateway or entry-level horror movies. That's why I don't tend to be too hard on PG-13 horror movies, especially like this, because I know when I was growing up and when I was like a younger person, 11, 12, 13, if I would have seen this movie at that age, I would have ate it up. I would have loved it. And it's just a perfect entry-level horror movie. Not for little kids, but if you're 12, 13, and you're having a sleepover, man, this would just be a blast to watch as just a great gateway horror movie. So I definitely recommend seeing M3GAN. It's a lot of fun. I think anybody who sees it is going to have a good time with it. It's certified fresh, if that means anything to anybody. It's getting pretty good audience and critic reviews, so definitely go see it. It's a lot of fun, guys. Stay tuned for more videos very soon. We have the first pilot episode of the Movie Watch podcast. I think we finally have, I'm just calling it that tentatively. I think we finally have a name figured out, or at least we've narrowed it down to a few. So hopefully when this thing debuts, it'll be official. I can't wait for you guys to see the podcast. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So guys, stay tuned, comment down below, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself, and I'll see ya. Bye.
Been asking us to make dolls with real growing hair for years now. The only problem is the current technology doesn't allow for that, so we've turned to the next best thing. A voodoo witch doctor named Captain Oogie who can transfer human souls into plastic dolls to give them lifelike characteristics. You can even modify the amount of humanity within the doll using our patented soul knob. Just be aware that these are technically human children and should not be subjected to normal doll treatment for ethical reasons.
Beautiful Chrissy and new velvet. They're ideal.